Hi all. In this short video, we are trying to show grouping by plopping in Code app. Exactly like the other videos, we have exact same workspace provided for you for your own practice. So over here we have a data table. This data table we got it from the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey website. Over here we have 1000 different cases and there are people and we have some attributes for each of these cases. We have education, marital, gender, age, race, BMI, height, and weight. So, and weight is the last attribute we have here. So we're not going to be really worried about these empty spaces here that we have because we didn't do any data cleaning for this data table. Because our main focus is just grouping by plopping here. We want to see how we do grouping. This is one way of grouping in CODA. For our purpose, let's just set our main goal to be comparing the heights of different biological genders, males and females, across various age ranges. So over here, we want to do our grouping based on the gender, biological genders, which is male and female over here. So let's just start by checking out the height of everyone in the data set, regardless of the gender in various age group first. So in order for us to do that, exactly like any other analysis we had, we wanna go ahead and choose graph. And since we are looking at the height and the age, I would use these two attributes and drag and drop them into my horizontal and vertical axis. Height normally goes on a vertical axis and age on the horizontal axis. So what we see here is the height of individuals in our data set. Basically, this is regardless of gender, and this is across different ages. And we can see from here, for example, is 0 to 10, they're just like children, and we see that the height is increasing as age is increasing up to probably 20 because the children are growing here. But over here we have some kind of constant. But we don't know which data point belong to women and which ones belong to men. So we want to do the grouping here. Basically, we want to zoom in on different groups individually here to understand how they vary in terms of the height. This is where the plopping comes into play. So plopping is just as simple as dragging and dropping our third attribute into the middle of this graph. Over here, we are organizing our group based on the attribute of gender here, biological gender. That's either male or female. So what we do, we just go ahead and drag and drop our third attribute, which is gender here, on the middle of our graph. So this is called plopping. And as soon as I do this, see what happened. As soon as we drag and drop our third attribute into the middle of the graph, you can see that our points get colored based on the value of that specific attribute. So we have different colors for male and female. But now the question might be, how do we understand these colors? Well, we shouldn't be concerned about this at all because we can see a handy legend that pops up over here in our graph. So this is exactly the grouping. We have female and male. So we are getting unique and distinct colors for each of these categories here. The attribute that we drag and drop was the gender, biological gender, and that was categorical. So that's why we got exact, like distinct colors for each. For female, we got orange, for male, purple. And then if you want to select it, you just need to go ahead and click on that specific color on the legend. And for the male, we do the same thing, right? So that would help us to do the analysis because we can answer to many different questions here. We can answer the questions like at the age range of 20 to 25, for example, 20 to 25, which group seems to be taller? Or questions like, do height differences between male and female vary consistently across the graph? So these are the things that we can look into the group and figure that out. But over here, we did our grouping, plopping grouping based on the categorical data we had. But what if we have a numerical data? Same thing would happen, but inside the legend, instead of two distinct color, we will have spectrum of colors that divides your data into categories based on the values. For example, let's just go ahead and delete what we have here, remove the legend, and I just want to go ahead and use another attribute. I want to use BMI, which is over here a numerical one. So as soon as I drag and drop that there, what I see a beautiful spectrum of colors that divide all this data into different categories. Again, if I click on each of these, that's gonna show me like different groups. These data for the BMI were not really categorized or we didn't have any group for them. But when we do that grouping by plopping, we will see different groups here. So this is what we mean by grouping using plopping in CodeApp.